cut any weight when you still now when you're fighting MMA?
Yeah, like 15, 20 pounds.
Yeah. Got any secrets that you're willing to give
What
up?
I use for cutting weights, a lot of guys use it. UFC. It's albaline oil. You can buy it like at Walgreens. It's like it's like in the female section. It's just it's a white container. It's like it's a makeup remover, and it's a blue lid on it. It says albaline, ALBOLINE, albaline, and you take that and you put that in your body. It opens your pores up, and you go sit and you go run like 3 miles, and get a good little run in, break a sweat, and then you go with some sweats on, and then go sit in the sauna, and you'll get like maybe a driver's license or a straight edge. And if you don't have a lot of hair like me, you just squeegee off your body. You just squeegee it off your body, and it does not stop pouring. You just sweat profusely.
How far out do you cut? 15?
Probably like maybe 24 to 30 hours. You can lose a lot of weight from. I've lost 12 and a half in 24 hours. For jiu-jitsu, I don't cut weight for jiu-jitsu. I don't think there's a real point. I think you should be able. I think you can learn a lot from going with the guys just your weight and flowing. I'm not gonna starve. I starve enough through fighting. I'm not gonna starve through jiu-jitsu as well.
What's in your mind before a fight? Like
Depends how hard I train. If you train hard and you have good cardio, then there's nothing that's my biggest flaw. Is I started out MMA amateur. I started out 2-2, and I was like playing with a little bit. I trained a little with the Marine Corps wrestling team, trained a little jiu-jitsu, and I started training like hardcore after 2-2. I won like 40 fights in a row. I went 30-2 amateur. I went 12-0 pro, and then I got knocked out right away by Dustin Hazlett, and I got him in the UFC, and then. Because I went with my hands out down. Your biggest thing is, I think there's some good sports psychologist CDs you can listen to, but your biggest thing, or I think the biggest confidence you ever have is just working hard. And if you work like a madman, you're confident. You don't really care if the guy beats you because you worked your ass off. So no one can take that from you.
You fought a ton of fights early on. How'd you balance the training with that?
I fought I used to fight. I used to drive and fight. I remember there was one weekend I fought on a Friday in South Dakota, and the next night I fought twice in a night amateur, and then the next weekend I flew to Denver to fight. I just fight like every weekend. I just fought just to fight because I just wanted to do it.
How'd you balance that with your training? You're kind of pretty steady.
My opponents in amateur, your amateur opponents are just picked usually the night of. There's in the weight, there's no really weights. If some of the amateur shows, there's a lot of shitty amateur shows out there. A lot of shitty amateur shows. Everybody here knows who Houston Alexander is. Yeah. Houston Alexander is a friend of mine, but we always laugh because I was supposed to. I was between my first UFC fight. I lost to Josh Berkman. And it was like April, and this show offered me to fight Houston, and it was before Houston got in the UFC. All right, so I was gonna take this fight with Houston, who weighed like 240, and I go to show up, and they go, and then on the internet I fought some other big dude at 240 or whatever, and won that fight, and I was under contract with the UFC. So a lot of people, they're like this guy's in the UFC. He's fighting chums like he's going to take easy fights like Houston Alexander, and then Houston Alexander goes and knocks Keith Jardine out like a month later. Then everybody just shut up because I wasn't taking easy fights. I just wanted to take a fight, just take a fight. I get to fight. I don't like being told when to fight. It's my biggest problem. So I don't like being in contracts with exclusive contracts and being told, hey, your next fight's gonna be 4 or 5 months from now. I don't like that. I like to fight like once a month.
You got any fights on the horizon?
I got January 22nd. I'm fighting in Omaha for HD Net Fights, Ring of Fire, and then I'm fighting the third week in February in Kansas City, and then I'm fighting for a charity thing in my hometown at the next weekend. I got 180 pounds. I beat some guys to beat up, but it's just for charity. I'm gonna get back in the UFC. I gotta redeem myself. I don't wanna be a UFC vet. I want to be a UFC winner.
Any plans to fight in Japan or?
Yeah, I'm talking to Ray. I want to travel. You know, fighting's so cool. And it's usually not the nicest people in the world are real fighters. You know, there's probably the nicest people in the world that you're around right now. You know, they're not like stuck up. You know, or the high maintenance bitches. You know, there's no offense. No. There's no high maintenance. There's no high maintenance people. All fighters are pretty cool. You know. I was telling her in Aurora. I was like, I thought when I first met Aurora, just because French people, I always thought they were stuck up. You know, it's a French. You know, but Aurora's a pretty cool chick. You know, I mean, most fighters that train are pretty cool people. I mean, they're humble because they have to adapt to something that they're not used to, and that takes humbling yourself. I mean, if you're a striker and you want to get good at wrestling, you got to get your ass kicked by wrestlers. You know. If you're a jiu-jitsu guy and you want to be a fighter, you gotta go get your ass kicked by wrestlers and strikers, you know. So it's kind of like a humbling experience, you know. You can't be cocky and everything.
What's the worst part about being a fighter?
The worst part? The worst part is when you don't train, you get lazy, and it's like you put yourself at a certain, you're working like a madman. You get yourself there, and then you get lazy, and everybody else lets you know. Like everybody. That's the worst. Is like you can tell people treat you different. That's the biggest thing. Is when you win, whew, boy, everybody's your shit don't stink, man. You're the man. But if you lose, it's a total different. People don't know how to react. Like some people, they don't do it on purpose. It's just that people don't know how to react. Like if you lost a fight, I don't know if you're a guy that's gonna be like all pissed off, doesn't want to hear about it. You know, so I'm gonna be like, you lost a fight. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm gonna walk away. But if you want to fight, like, yeah, good job. You know, you know, some people, you know, you just get the cold shoulder by a lot of people, and some people are that way. They just don't. They're not very supportive when you're not doing good. So.